Here's Brody Brazil.
There's that old sports saying, the ball is in your court or destiny's in your own hands. Now, granted, there's a lot to be sorted out, I think, with the city of Oakland and the A's in terms of this development agreement. When will we actually see it? Again, more on that later. But in a way, now that this has been resolved, and there are some other things working with the State Lands Commission, and the BCDC is going to have one more permit that they'll need to award to this project. So we're not done with government stuff by any means, but in terms of leverage and control of the situation, doesn't this now fall so much more squarely on the A's in Oakland than anybody else now, with the lawsuits essentially moving on?
Yeah, I see it that way too. A lot of the major things that could have gone wrong. One of the last times we did a conversation like this, it was the BCDC, and I was saying how worried I was about the BCDC vote
because you don't know, right? You don't know how they were going to side, right? Totally
exactly.
Agree.
And so that was the big unknown at the time, and they passed it. Then came the lawsuits. They passed that. So now you got to get to that one huge binding vote on the development agreement and the community benefits agreement. And I think once they get past that, everything else seems a lot more procedural.
Right.
When we talked about this before, I didn't really talk a lot about the lawsuits because it was a variable that we couldn't control or even really properly understand, not being lawyers. Who knows how a judge is going to perceive this? Right. I read the tentative ruling and the final ruling, and they may as not have, they might as well have been in a different language. They're very hard to read. I read the EIR too. A lot of that stuff is very hard to read and understand. So to see how very skilled lawyers and accomplished judges are going to process that was hard. So I almost took the legal challenges out and really focused on, does the project make sense? Is it good for the port? Can it pencil out? Would it be good for Oakland? Those are the only things I really look at, and it seems to check all the boxes.
So now it's up to the A's and to Oakland to first come to a development agreement and then have that analyzed, right? We're at this weird calendar situation of September 20th is their next meeting. They were off for 5+ weeks, I think, most of July and end of July, take it back, and most of August. Here we are in September. And so their next meeting on the 20th, they wanted to have things in place so that they could analyze it and then potentially schedule out a binding vote, right? And we just have not had the development agreement. And there's been tight lips on both sides. I think you and I can sit here and list the names of people we've talked to and ask questions to. Do you feel like you have an answer that satisfies and tells you for sure that there's going to be something soon? Because I don't know that I've talked to anybody that can assure me that.
No, I don't either. I have nothing on that. And
we've tried.
And that's a big fear. Yes, believe me, I'm bothering people constantly. That is my main concern.
Right.
And I think we're going to do a separate video. We can get into that more, but I'm not hearing anything. And that could be taken in a positive way, and it could be taken in a negative way.
Yeah.
If we had September 20th circled on the calendar, which I did, and I know a lot of people did, I'm not sure September 20th is going to bring what we wanted it to bring. I don't know that they're going to have anything to even look at by September 20th. And there's no indication that they will.
Right.
And then you start worrying about what that means for the calendar and how late they can push it.